Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
As a federal or state employee, you have the opportunity to support the American Family Association through the combined federal campaign by designating a monthly payroll deduction using 12037. You help AFA continue to fight for your family. So when you complete your CFC form, remember, AFA's number is 12037. And thank you for your help.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Wall Street is becoming hopeful that there may soon be a resolution to the tariff war. But as Peter Ducey reports from the White House, China's not getting off scot-free.
About a third of all countries on the planet that are dealing with, at a minimum, this new 10% baseline tariff are calling folks in the West Wing here asking for the way down. This is what Beijing is worried about. So there's the possible tariff announced Monday, 50%. You add that to the reciprocal tariff announced last week, 34%. Add that to the tariff over fentanyl trafficking that was announced in February, that's 20%. You get to 104% tariff on Chinese goods. That's as the Israelis came here yesterday to show that Trump is willing to work with friendlies on trade.
The Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to deport illegal alien gang members under the Alien Enemies Act. Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller says this is a big win for the American people.
This is a monumental, colossal victory for the rule of law, for the Constitution, for our founding generation, John Adams, who signed this law into effect in 1798, and for President Trump in fulfilling his mandate and campaign pledge.
Another Democrat-led state is pushing back against President Trump's executive order banning men from competing in women's sports. In Washington state, 2 rule changes have been proposed to comply with that order. One would limit participation to females. The other would offer separate athletic programs for males who pretend to be female. But the state's school athletic board says that would violate the state's inclusion law. This is just the latest example of Democrat-run states resisting Trump's ban on men playing with women. Fox News political analyst Lisa Booth.
You look at Democrats, it's much more malicious than this because they have engaged on a war on women as well. You look at putting women in harm's way in sports as well, what we saw with Peyton McNabb and other women who have been injured as a result of man and women's sports. You're endangering women in the women's locker rooms and bathrooms as well. So they are engaging on a war on women.
Seattle talk show host Jason Morantz says this is completely unscientific.
I mean, they are literally pretending that there is no difference between a boy and a girl, except if a biological boy who identifies as a boy wants to play against girls on the girls' league. They would say, of course, you can't do that. And yet, simply just saying, well, I don't identify as a boy. Oh, okay, come on in. As if none of the concerns around safety and fairness exist anymore. So this is, yet again, pushing ideology over science, over safety, over fairness, all coming from the party that screams, down with the patriarchy, and we're the party of women. Please, spare me. You're not the party of women. You're, in fact, helping the patriarchy by pretending that there's no differences.
A mother from Maine discovered her daughter was being socially transitioned at school. Bronson Woodruff tells us more.
Amber Levine told AFN that she made the discovery in her daughter's room.
One afternoon, we were cleaning my daughter's bedroom, and we found what we now know as a breast binder. So I asked her, where did this come from? And she eventually shared with me that it came from a social worker at the school. So I struggled for a minute.
Levine said her 15-year-old daughter is not transitioned right now, but that she was confused at the time. She said it was a Friday when they discovered the binder. She emailed the principal and conversed with her that Saturday morning.
And the principal, in hindsight, I think was kind of trying to buy herself some time. She responded as if I found a 3-ring binder, which is something that you normally would find in a school setting. And so I responded back and I corrected her.
Levine said they told her they were going to meet with a social worker on Tuesday.
So I said, well, I'd like a follow-up meeting on Wednesday. I'm not sending my daughter to school until, this gets resolved. So I kept my daughter home and I met back with the superintendent on Wednesday. And the superintendent essentially said, as far as we can tell, we're not taking any kind of corrective action. Nothing negative happened here.
In the end, Levine said her daughter is okay. She is, quote, thriving now, and she understands a person's sex is not something that can be changed. But it's not over yet.
So we're currently waiting to hear the judge's ruling. They can either choose to agree with the main judge and grant the motion to dismiss, or we will then move to discovery. If they grant the motion to dismiss, we'll appeal to the Supreme Court.
I'm Bronson Woodruff.
More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The present madness of our world, American Family Radio is just like an oasis of joy and hope. We honestly need and depend on this radio station for its input into our daily lives. Thanks so much, American Family Radio, for allowing us to explore the daily issues with you as you present information that we can't see or hear through any other media outlet. Thanks so much.
In Isaiah chapter 44, verse 3, God says, "For I will pour water on the thirsty land and streams on the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessings on your descendants." It's Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Help us rejoice in God's promise to pour out His Spirit. Call now and partner with AFR at 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. Or give online at afr.net.
Just like Silas singing with Paul, praise can break down prison walls. Jesus, you can have it all. Won't you pour your spirit out?
Hey, welcome everybody to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. This is the Share-a-thon edition. For the next 3 days, we will be here with our American Family Radio Share-a-thon. I'm Tim Wildman. Thanks for listening, and we hope that you will hang around, keep listening to AFR. Well, joining me in studio is Ed Battagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Wesley Wildman.
Good morning. We need to apologize in advance that we've added 30 minutes to what they have to endure, the audience.
I hope we don't have to apologize.
I think they enjoy it, Wesley.
Yeah.
It depends on
deeply hurt.
There are fewer days that I do walk away going, that was helpful, that was productive. But others,
we're going to be here.
Usually a tariff conversation that I go, I don't know if this is the best suit of our time, but
this is really not going to matter, because we're going to be here anyway, regardless, for the next 2 hours, or hour and 55 minutes. We'll be here with our Share-a-thon. Chris Woodward. Good morning, Brother Chris.
Good morning. Thank you.
So, Ed, what is our theme for our spring 2025 Share-a-thon?
Well, it is pour out your spirit. This is from Isaiah 44, verse 3. That's our spring Share-a-thon verse. For I will pour water on the thirsty land and streams on the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. It is Share-a-thon, and here's the number to call if you would like to give to American Family Radio. We do this 3 days in the spring, 3 days in the fall. So to give, and there are folks waiting to take your call in Share-a-thon Central just down the hallway. 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. Now, I'm going to say that they're always telling us to give the phone number during today's issues. So I'm just letting our listeners know, just out of nowhere while we're talking, we might be talking about tariffs, Tim. I'm going to just interrupt and give the phone number, 877-616-2396, or you can give safely and securely online at afr.net. Maybe you don't like talking to people. Maybe you prefer AI, or maybe you just like to go on the computer and just interact.
So they can give safely and securely?
Safely and securely.
That was a necessary clarification, because you just threw in AI with you donating, and so
we don't even use AI on the website, folks. I should make that clear. Look, we tried doing it unsafely and insecurely years
That's
ago.
what I was going to say.
But
Where can people go to do that?
But that didn't end well. So safely and securely at afr.net.
Well, again, our theme is, for I will pour water on the thirsty land. This is from Isaiah chapter 44, verse 3. And it goes on to say, and streams of the dry ground I will pour, this is God talking, I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. Amen?
Amen. I love that. So I would like to give the Spring Share-a-thon 2025 premium
Go
options.
Ahead. Yes.
Okay, so folks, for a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive this book by Stephen McDowell, The Bible, Divine or Human. And it deals with evidence of biblical infallibility and support for building your life and nation on biblical truth. That is by Stephen McDowell, personal friend of Tim's and a friend of this ministry. So that's for a one-time gift of $150 or more. If you would like instead to become a Great Commission partner who gives every month to this ministry with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you will receive the book by Stephen McDowell, The Bible, Divine or Human, and the AFR embossed Padfolio. Now, Tim, could you hand me that?
You want the Padfolio?
I'd like to look at this Padfolio.
Let me slap you with it?
No, I don't want to don't slap me with that or a tariff.
I'm going to slap you with a tariff or a Padfolio. You tell me which.
This is a really beautiful and functional 8 by 5.5 little pad. It's embossed.
How do you know the dimensions? Are you
just
guessing?
No, because that pad that's inside it is 8 by 5.5. Or maybe it's, you know what? Now that you ask me, I'm not sure. It's one of those small pads, folks. So it zips up. You can put stuff in it. You can put snacks in it. If you don't want to share your snacks with your wife or your kids, you can hide them in this Padfolio because it zips up.
Ed,
it's very cool looking.
Ed, are you the kind that goes, I think that's about 75 yards? And then you realize it's like 200 yards? Are you the one that goes,
I'm that guy.
About 12 inches and it ends up being 3 feet?
I am that guy because my dad always told me, you don't have to be right. You just got to sound right.
That's it.
So
you're not alone.
Hey, hand me that book right there, Dad.
You gave both these, right?
Yes, that is. And by the way, Tim, if you don't mind, tell our listeners why we like and appreciate Great Commission partners.
Well, the expression Great Commission partners is what we call our monthly donors, right?
Yes.
Because we count on people who give to us monthly. So we can budget. Now, not everybody wants to do that, nor can they do that. But if you can give to us monthly, pledge to us monthly, $30 or more, we're going to send you this book. And the pad, what do you call it?
It's a Padfolio.
Yeah, that. We're going to send that to you. But that's what we count on as the backbone of our financial sustainability.
It helps us to budget because we know exactly what's coming in.
So you can do that by bank draft, by credit card, however you want to do it. When you call in and make a pledge, please make me a Great Commission partner, which is a monthly donor to American Family Radio. Yes.
I wanted to add something. Okay, I thought this was it.
Yeah.
I've read this. Now, this is a newer cover.
Talking about the book by Stephen McDowell we're talking about.
The book by Stephen McDowell that we're talking about, I've read this. Now, again, like I just mentioned, I wanted to put it and flip through it to make sure that's right because this is a newer cover than the one I've got. Like it's a reprint. This is phenomenal. This is worth. It's probably about a 45-minute, maybe an hour read, but it's one of those. It's rich with content so much so that you underline, highlight, and then you'll reference back to it.
Oh, good.
And so it walks you through how the Bible has transformed the lives of people from the inside out through the gospel.
Okay.
And one of the first stories in here I remember was from It was from December 7th, 1941, when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
There was a American prisoner that was captured and taken to Japan and was tortured and imprisoned, and all he asked for was a Bible. His name was Bob Hite. He asked for a Bible, and he asked for it in traditional sense. He wasn't necessarily a Christian, but he wanted something of comfort from the States. Well, he ended up being converted, and then ended up converting some of the
guards.
The guards, and then after the war was over, he was released, and then he went back, and was invited back, and ended up getting to meet some of the people that imprisoned him.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that story is in there?
That story's in there. But it was a story of the Bible changing multiple people's lives. Really powerful. Anyways.
Well, so folks, you can get that premium for a one-time gift of $150 or more. Or if you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you will receive that book by Stephen McDowell, The Bible, Divine or Human, and the AFR embossed padfolio. Here's the number to call if you want to give to our spring share-a-thon. Pour out your spirit is the kind of motto of this share-a-thon. The phone number to call is 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. Or you can give online and give at afr.net. All right, Chris, what kind of stories you got for us?
Well, we want to bring everybody's attention to what we have on our website, afn.net. The big story today that's had all kinds of reaction this morning has been a Supreme Court decision yesterday allowing the Trump administration to use an 18th century wartime law to deport Venezuelan illegals. This is something that's been in the news for weeks now, really. And finally, yesterday, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to use the Alien Enemies Act from way back in the day as a reason or an excuse to deport violent criminals and gang members from Venezuela. But here's the thing. This issue is still going to be in the courts because the Supreme Court said these illegals must still get a court hearing before they are taken away from the United States. So even though the high court has ruled a certain way, these things are still going to play out in court, and we're still going to talk about this on the program. But just to give you guys an idea of how the Trump administration is reacting to this, I can play a quick clip here of, let's do Attorney General Pam Bondi, clip 4.
This is a landmark victory for the rule of law, and this is what we've been arguing on behalf of President Trump from day one. These are enemies of our state, of our country, and they should be deported. And what the judge ruled was going forward, from this day forward, all those planes that are gone are there. Those people are staying. So there are a lot of reasons why Americans are safer. From this point forward, the hearing will be held, it's a habeas hearing, in the court of confinement, which means in Texas.
Yeah.
So it will be a much faster hearing. They can't do class actions. It will be a much smoother, simpler hearing, and these people will be deported. Americans are safer, and domestic terrorists, foreign terrorists, you better look out because we're coming after you. I'd start self-deporting if I were you, because we're going to find you.
Now, for more on this story, visit our website, afn.net, because we're going to be updating that throughout the day during Share-a-thon.
It is our spring Share-a-thon. Tim Wildman, Ed Vitagliano, Wesley Wildman, Chris Woodward is our reporter of note for the first hour anyway. So, Chris, we were talking about this in our meeting, and then, Wesley, you can jump in here. This is even though the Trump administration is considering this a victory, and it is a victory, it does not end the use of leftist judges by the political left in order to try to stop what Trump is doing with regards to illegal immigrants. It is a victory, but it's not the end of this fight.
Correct. We're still probably going to have an update on this case tomorrow, perhaps even a story that involves Judge Boasberg. He's kind of the judge that started all this, that being the dispute over the deportation of the violent Venezuelan gang members. I mentioned Judge Boasberg specifically because he's actually overseeing a hearing today about the deportation of illegal immigrants. We'll see whether or not Judge Judge Boasberg pays any attention to what the Supreme Court justices had to say, I don't know that he will, given how he has ruled on this in recent days.
I got a question. So it looks really bad for anybody, in this case a judge, to find a law or act as if he's found a law that says that we cannot deport illegal criminals back to their country. Okay, that's the bottom line. That's what it looks really bad. But to give them for just a moment to play the liberal, you taking this?
Yeah,
one?
okay, you go right ahead.
You go right ahead. What would be the left's position on why this is a worthy cause to fight for, both from a legal standpoint and from a popularity standpoint?
I think it's to disrupt the system and just to cause some problems, some delays in Trump's agenda playing out. A number of judges will rule a certain way knowing I'll probably be overruled, but it delays it while they have to put the appeal together, and then another court clears its schedule to where the appellate court will hear the arguments, and then they'll take a day or weeks or whatever. And during that time, it caused less deportations.
Okay.
All right. Other than that, it looks really bad because it looks as if they're siding with the criminals.
Well, and I would the left does that. They do side with criminals a lot of times. Even to the point of, I mean, we're talking about sanctuary cities.
But what are they hiding behind? Is what I'm saying. Are they saying law and order, or what? I mean, what?
I think they're saying we need to protect the constitutional rights of criminals in our cities.
Shallow.
You know, if the Democrats probably could have sidestepped the political impact of this issue when Trump got reelected in large part on this issue. Okay, if the left had said, hey, we are fine with deporting criminals. We will cooperate with the federal government to get known gang members and drug dealers and criminals. If people commit crimes against our citizens, they're out of here.
Yep.
If they had done that and said, but we do need to increase opportunities, then I think they would have sidestepped to some extent, the political fallout. But to your point, if you look like you're defending gang members, how are you going to win politically? So
yeah.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Chris. It's Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. So a few weeks ago, we asked some of our listeners to call in and share a testimony of how AFR has impacted their life. And we're playing these 3 days. And here's one of them.
Hello, this is Brandon in Bentonville, Virginia. And I feel incredibly blessed to have discovered American Family Radio, in which I believe that God introduced into my life during the pandemic. While searching for truthful insights on the radio, I stumbled upon AFR and then only found myself seeking God's Word. As a police officer, I spend most of my time on the road and find comfort in listening to AFR during my daily travels. And it's had a profound impact on my way of thinking. AFR has introduced me to stand up and for the truth and righteousness, and I feel a calling to serve the Lord and spread His message. I've recently joined a local Baptist church with my wife, where we're raising our 3 sons with Christian values. I want to express my gratitude for all that this ministry is doing, and I feel divinely inspired to share my testimony, praying that this ministry will continue to expand its reach to new listeners. May we remain faithful stewards to God's blessings, recognizing that forgiveness is humanity's greatest need. And may God's people discover the truth of salvation through His Word, a gift made possible by Jesus our Savior. Thank you, and God bless you.
Wow.
Amen.
That gives me chills.
Yeah. That's a brother from Virginia right there who found us during the pandemic.
You know, that's interesting that we oftentimes talk about COVID only in negative terms. And there was a lot of bad things that happened to our country and around the world, not the least of which is people dying, but just in terms of all the, the controversy over, shots and masks and all that. However,
you want to revisit that?
No, I don't. I do not.
I'd like to spend a good 10 minutes on that if we can. But you want to skip that now?
I'm going to skip the negative part. But testimonies like this, because of the pandemic, he started listening to American Family Radio. We've all also heard stories of parents while their kids were home learning remotely. They would listen to what they were being taught.
Yeah.
A lot of parents had their eyes opened, and we might wind up looking back at COVID and see just how much good God brought out of a very bad situation.
On a personal level, just for my own story here, I took Wednesday night services, prayer meeting and Bible study is what we call it, but I took Wednesday night services for granted because we didn't have them for a period of time because of COVID and the restrictions and whatnot. And I tell you, it really, when we started doing it again after a period of time, I realized just how important it was.
Let me give the number, folks. Tim mentioned that it is our spring share-a-thon. This is day 1. We have share-a-thon tomorrow and then Thursday. 3 days in the spring, 3 days in the fall. We have our spring share-a-thon where we come to you, our listeners, and ask you to come alongside this ministry to help support it. Pour Your Spirit Out is the theme for our spring share-a-thon. Here's the number to call.
Let me
if
get
you would
this
like
out.
to give, okay, you go right.
You're carrying the share-a-thon. You're pulling the share-a-thon wagon today. Let me help you out here.
Man,
Here
yeah,
we go.
I got to rest.
877-616-2396. 877-616-2396, or visit afr.net. Now, one of the Bible verses I thought about there when you were concluding your thoughts about the pandemic was Romans 8:28. For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and have been called according to his purpose. God will take, if Christians have the right attitude and they're seeking God and they're putting their faith and trust in him, he will take difficult things and turn them into good.
For his glory.
For his glory.
Hey, why don't you go ahead and,
Sure.
talk about the premiums for share-a-thon?
We got 2 premiums here. One premium from a gift of $150 or more. We will send you Stephen McDowell's book or booklet on the Bible. It's on the Bible. It's called The Bible, Divine or Human, and the subtitle is Evidence of Biblical Infallibility and the Support of Building Your Life and a Nation on Biblical Truth by Steve McDowell. That's a gift for $150 or more. For a monthly giver, a Great Commission partner, you will receive the book plus a how are you calling this? An embossed?
Embossed. That's what their words.
We
down
got to
there.
come up with an easier. I'm from Mississippi. I went to Mississippi State.
It's stamped.
It's a stamped booklet that you can write
Raised
notes in.
letters.
Yeah. So it comes with an A. We also have an AFR pad.
It's
right, but you can't stay at it.
Padfolio.
You can't stay at it just for
Padfolio.
giving.
Yeah,
That's right. You can't stay at it. What is it? I missed the joke.
Our pad.
Staying at the pad. Well, you're
That's
talking.
an old-
You're talking to
yeah.
young guys. They never referred to a place where you live as a pad.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's also old folks.
Was that 70s talk?
Hey
60s?
man, yeah, you should.
Okay, my
stop
bad.
by my
Continue on,
pad.
Wesley.
Then now that has fallen flat.
Yeah.
The Great Commission partner for $30 a gift or more, you get the AFR booklet along with the book from Steve McDowell. So call in at 877-616-2396 or visit afr.net.
All right, you're listening to Spring Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. I won't spend any time on this except to say the definition of a pad is a place to stay. The era of that usage would probably be 1960 to 1980. I'm guessing a 20-year period. After that,
it fell into disuse.
As you can
we
see,
can be frank.
Did you listen to your Carpenter's records in your pad?
I did in the 70s.
Oh man, Chris.
Yes.
Well played.
So the theme for our share-a-thon is from Isaiah chapter 44, verse 3, where God says he will pour out, I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. And we just say amen to that. Yes, Wesley.
All right, let's go ahead and thank some of our givers right here. Our most recent pledges. Ken from New Mexico, thank you. Sharon from Louisiana. Charlie from Oklahoma. Stephen from Texas. Thank y'all so much for giving. Ricky.
David from Maryland.
Yep. Ricky from North Carolina. Anthony from Oklahoma. Go ahead. You got a
Ricky
couple more?
Bobby. So
Ricky
here too.
Ricky Bobby. We have Jeff from
Alabama.
Georgia. Randall from Ohio. Paul from Iowa. Sharon from Baker City, Oregon. Sharon may give every.
I've
time
been
we
there.
have it. You
been
have
there.
Baker
Been to
City?
Baker City, Oregon. Yes.
Carol from Pennsylvania. We are American Family Radio, Virginia, Texas, Mississippi. Thank you all who have given so far. The number to call for Share-a-thon is 877-616-2396. 2396. That's 877-616-2396, or you can give online at afr.net.
There's a Christian competition going on amongst us here. We're trying to do better than the show before us and the show after us. So
that's right.
Help us out during this hour.
Yes.
And Ken called in from Blooming Prairie, Minnesota. Doesn't it sound like a great place to be?
Blooming Prairie,
Minnesota.
Welcome to Blooming Prairie, Minnesota.
No, that's your tariff voice.
Tariff talk.
We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us. You're listening to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
Some time ago in Brentwood, New York, Ms. Raymond Bates found her two youngest children, Deborah and Andrew, eating tranquilizer pills. Knowing the seriousness of this, she immediately asked their older brother, Timothy, if he had eaten any of the pills. He said that he had not. Ms. Bates rushed the children to the hospital, and Deborah, age 2, and Andrew, 4, both had their stomachs pumped. Timothy, denying that he had eaten any of the pills, did not have his stomach pumped. It was a crucial situation for Ms. Bates, for the pills that the children had eaten could have very easily killed them. It was of utmost importance that she be told the truth by her children. To have lied in a situation like that could have meant death for any of them. You know, there are many situations like that in life. Several times our physical life depends on whether or not we're willing to tell the truth, face the facts. Failure to do so will often mean death or serious injury. But deeper than this is the fact that we must be willing to tell the truth about our intangible being also. And here is where most of us are willing to try to get by on a half-truth, sometimes even a flat lie. We haven't been honest with ourselves here. We've told ourselves that everything is okay, it'll work out all right. So we've gone on ignoring our inner being, pretending that there will be a time to take care of that. We've even built up a conception that there's a great Santa Claus in the sky who will bring us all everything we need at the right time. We've lied to ourselves in telling ourselves that we have no obligation any higher than ourselves. We have fooled ourselves into thinking that if there is life after death, everybody will enjoy it equally and not just a pious few. When I break a bone and it needs setting, I don't dare fool myself into thinking that it'll be all right if I left it alone and everything will work out okay by itself. If I have cancer, I don't go around telling people that there's a great fairyland cancer doctor who will cure me. When I had my heart attack, I didn't ask for a knife that I could operate on myself. No. And all of these things, I told myself, and I tell myself, the truth, that I need help from beyond myself, from someone whose business it is to help in those situations. To do less in the spiritual realm would be equally as foolish. Don't make the mistake with your spiritual life that Timothy Bates made with his physical life. When Ms. Bates went to check on the children the next morning, Deborah and Andrew, who had their stomachs pumped, were fine. Timothy, age 8, was dead. Honesty is the best policy in all matters.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
The last time I preached in Saraus, which was a village there in the mountains, no power, had a candle on the pulpit. I'd read my Bible with that and preaching the Word. The rain was pounding on the roof. And it was a concern whether we'd get out of there or not because of mudslides and things like that. I'm Steve Hill from Ripley, Mississippi. I've been ordained minister for 30 years now. And the past 8 years we've spent in Peru as missionaries. I was basically a circuit riding preacher. I was preaching on a regular basis a dozen different churches. Of course, we would come back for a month every year for furlough. So we would get snippets of American culture, snippets of AFA. And this past year I've been on sabbatical, and we've been doing lots of projects on our place. You can imagine a place in Mississippi gets kind of grown up with 8 or 10 years of neglect. And so we've been doing a lot of that kind of work. And I've got the AFR app, and I've got my earphones on or just the phone in my pocket listening. It's been such an encouragement because, to be honest, it's been discouraging to see how the culture has slid more away from God and His truth and His Word. So I'm very concerned about new generations that didn't have the Andy Griffith kind of upbringing that I had, that are awash in a world of relativism and those kind of things. They need a voice like AFR out here speaking the truth and helping them to think biblically about these issues. You need the people behind you holding up your arms as Moses with Aaron and Hur, and you definitely need that support because you're going against the flow. This is a culture that wants AFR to be silent. They don't want to hear you.
It's Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Help us rejoice in God's promise to pour out His Spirit. Call now at 877-616-2396 or give online at afr.net. And thank you for partnering with AFR during Share-a-thon.
Jesus, you can have it all. Won't you pour your spirit out?
Amen. Amen. Welcome back to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Battagliano, who's texting. Wesley Wildman, who's texting.
And Chris.
And Chris Woodward, who's also texting.
Bear with me.
So, well, I'm bearing with all of y'all. Evidently, you don't care about the...
Oh, no, I was texting
just
somebody.
show.
about work.
That's fine. I was
Tell me when y'all-
I was writing down all the prayer requests I took during the break, but that's fine.
I'm sure that's true. Yes, spiritualize your neglect there. You're listening to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. If you're new to AFR and you're wondering, what are these crazy Christians doing?
Yeah.
We're raising money. Okay, that's what we're doing because why, you ask? Because we have to pay bills. It doesn't sound very spiritual, but if the electricity company doesn't get their money, guess what? They cut off the power to the tower.
Yeah, we got over 170
I'm ready to start
radio
rapping
stations.
right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start freestyling.
Please don't.
So that doesn't sound very spiritual, but that's the truth. We have to have money to operate this ministry, and we have to have a lot of it. And so we have to appeal to our listeners, since we're listener-supported Christian radio, and we do that twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, 3 days each time. And
Go ahead.
I'm going to. We pass the virtual offering plate, and we say, please make a gift and be as generous as you can, so that we can just don't feel the burden of finances. We can just do ministry, and we can just plan, and we can grow, and we can affect people's lives without having to sweat about, are we going to be able to pay the bills or not? That everybody knows what that feels like. It's not a good feeling. So if you believe in what we're doing here at American Family Radio, we're saying, please call in and make a financial pledge. That's what we're asking here today. So I'm going to give you the number, and if you believe in what we're doing and you share our vision for reaching America for Christ and for telling the truth about what's happening in our country and in our world so that we can make a difference for our children and our grandchildren and to save our land from spiritual malaise, then if you believe those things and you want to see God pour out His Spirit, as He says in Isaiah 44, verse 3, God's going to pour out His Spirit according to Him. But I'm just saying that we want to honor the Lord so that He will bless us, okay, as a country. So here's the phone number. If you share that vision and you say, Tim, I believe in what you're doing, and American Family Radio, and I want to make a gift. The number to call and when you call this number I'm about to give, you're calling our home offices here in Tupelo, Mississippi. We're a national ministry, but this is where our national headquarters are located, or is located, and this is where we operate from. And we have a lot of people come in and help answer the phones who are listeners from all over the country. Went over and visited with 4 folks from South Carolina who made the 10-hour trip over to help us answer the phones. This is the quality of people that support American Family Radio is just unbelievable. So here's the phone number to call, 877-616-2396. Again, that phone number to call us here at American Family Radio is 877-616-2396. Or if you want to make a gift online, go to afr.net, afr.net.
Can they give at afr.net safely and securely?
They can give safely and security. There is an option to give unsecurely and unsafely. You just need to click that box. That will take you to Scam Central USA.
That's the thing we want to joke about.
And you can have your bank account drained this afternoon by scammers if you want to take that route.
Folks, you've hopefully you've been listening long enough to know that half of what we say on this program is tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
Right.
And that was part of it right there.
Yeah. So, Wesley, you were going to say? Or have you forgotten?
No, I have not forgotten. There are a couple places specifically in the New Testament in which Paul took up an offering on behalf of another Christian. And so it is a Christian practice, both biblical and historical, biblically historical too, and biblical like in the actual text of taking up a donation or having a missionary's fees paid for so that they can focus specifically on the work at hand. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. And as you said, obviously that could be abused. You could take it too far, but we don't.
Right.
We just 3 times a year, or 3 times in the fall, 3 times in the spring, we stop our mission, our work, or we at least pause it for a little bit so that we can let y'all know we need some financial help so we can continue our work.
And for our spring share-a-thon, we do have a couple of premium options for you. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive a book by Stephen McDowell titled The Bible, Divine or Human. If you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you will not only receive the book by Stephen McDowell, The Bible, Divine or Human, but you will also receive the AFR embossed padfolio. Now, some of the members of this talk show panel have mocked the fact that we call it a padfolio, but it is pretty awesome.
Nobody knows what that is.
It's
that's right. That's the reason I'm mocking.
If you want to keep using the word, trying to sound smart, you go ahead.
That's the reason
I'm just going by what they put here on the piece of paper.
It's a pad with a zipper around it that you put a little book in or a notepad.
Great for
a lot of
reading
people
your
take
Bible
these
sermon.
to church and they write notes from their pastor.
But it is a nice one. It is. AFR is embossed on the front,
not embalmed.
And as I mentioned earlier, it does zip up. You can hide snacks in it. If you want to keep money away from your spouse, this can be a perfect place to hide it so they don't come and take it and spend it in an inefficient
I think you're
manner.
overpromising right there. I don't think this thing's going to pack any snacks.
The number to call is 877-616.
Wrigley's gum, maybe. But go ahead.
239. Why do you keep making fun of my padfolio?
I'm sorry. Okay.
877-616-2396. It is Spring Share-a-thon, folks. We ask you to join us here.
Let me do our audience a solid like I have to do every now and then and get us back on track, okay?
Okay.
We are helping them out because they had to listen to us all last week on Tariff Talk, not knowing very little of what we were talking about, but we have a guest on that does know a little bit about it.
Welcome to Tariff Talk.
Thank you.
Yes.
Here on American Family Radio.
Brought to you by China. Who's just been hit with a 50% tariff this afternoon.
Slap, not hit. Slap.
Slapped with. All right. Yes, we are going to try to understand a little bit of this better. Rob West, host of Faith and Finance, heard weekdays here at 9 a.m. Central Time on American Family Radio, is in studio with us. Drove over from hot Atlanta, didn't you, Rob?
I did.
Atlanta. Took you a week with the traffic.
Atlanta to Tupelo is one of those you could drive or you can fly, and it takes about the same time.
Well, half your time's in Atlanta.
Exactly.
Once you get on I-20 and out of Atlanta, you can motor on over here. You live up there. You live up there by the new baseball stadium.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. You go to Braves games
We do.
sometimes.
Yeah. I think they finally won a game.
Yeah.
You can solve that too.
Yeah,
We'll-
that's rare for Braves. They're usually really good. Maybe they'll come back. It's a long season. But, okay, so, Rob, you live this world of finance and follow it every day and so forth and so on. The tariffs that President Trump has initiated on countries around the world now that he last week has caused the stock markets around the world to collapse. Would you say collapse is the right word?
No, I probably wouldn't use the word collapse. I mean, but a significant correction, and the NASDAQ in bear market territory. So
This is a correction?
Well, we're now in a bear market on the NASDAQ. So
okay,
yeah,
well,
whate's in between a collapse and a
we
correction,
that's why
it's probably that. Huh?
I'll develop a cheerier attitude then here as we. No,
we're back to where we were last year.
I said, well, that's a collapse in my mind. But anyway, whatever you want to call it, I'm not demeaning your profession there, Rob, or your.
That's why we have you on, because
I know.
you don't know what you're talking
so
about.
Rob, you're right. I don't know what I'm talking
kidding.
about, and people need to understand that. But Rob calls it a correction, correction. So, now the stock market is. Which is 20% of Americans invest in the stock market. What's the percentage when you include 401k portfolios and so forth?
Yeah, no, it's higher than that. I mean, it's 30+%, but yeah.
Okay, so it does matter.
Oh yeah,
what happens?
Absolutely.
And stock markets go up, stock markets go down. What do you make of the reaction, though, of the world quote markets to President Trump's tariffs?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was interesting, though, because, he's been talking about tariffs for 40 years, right? We've seen those recorded speeches. He calls it a big, beautiful word, tariff, right? He talked about it pre-election, post-election. So why the huge sell-off after Liberation Day last week? And it was because what the market was anticipating, which was probably somewhere around a 10 to 12% kind of tariff across the board with some reciprocal actual reciprocal tariffs, it was far greater than that, right? And so it came down to this Council of Economic Advisors. We've seen the formula, right, plastered on the screens. And although Secretary Bessent would say that they took the true number, which included trade imbalances, it included manipulation of currency, it included the VAT tax, plus the tariffs, and then they cut it in half, it was still far greater than anybody expected, which is a significant blow to business. And it enforced tariffs on even countries like Switzerland, where basically they have almost zero tariff in place. And now all of a sudden it's much higher than it was.
What is it, President Trump's, he's a smart guy. I mean, he's been around a long time. He had to know this was going to happen. I'm talking about the world markets would react so negatively. Of course, the markets are, as we say, are a snapshot in time. They're temporary. Who knows what happened next week or the week after necessarily. But so he was willing, he being President Trump, was willing to put it all on the line right here. I mean, he's going all in that this is going to work. If you come out on the other side like he says we're going to, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think the question is, he's saying two things. He's saying, look at all the revenue we're going to generate, hundreds of billions of dollars from these tariffs, which would lead you to think that he's in it for the long haul. And then on the other side, you hear he and Bessent and Navarro saying, look at all the people that are coming to the table and we're ready to negotiate. And so which one is it? Now, if he doesn't say we're willing to see it through, then he loses some effectiveness in the negotiation. Right?
Well, he said, I'm not changing any of this, my policies.
But at the same time, he's also said, Vietnam's ready to negotiate. Japan's sending a delegation. South Korea's on a plane as we speak. flying over here. And
Israel
yesterday. Israel
Yeah.
yesterday. And so that would indicate that they're ready to go to the table. And I think the market is up today because you're seeing a reaction that, okay, wait a minute, maybe we are going to start checking some of these off. And the hard talk, largely toward China, but to the rest of the world, is in place for a negotiating strategy. It's the art of the deal. And we're going to bring people to the table and negotiate these away.
Okay, let me just warn you here, Rob. Don't look at Ed right now. Look at me.
Yeah, don't look at
Don't look at Ed. Ed thinks he knows all this stuff about tariffs.
I do not.
He studies it. He lives it. He watches movies about it. So he's fixing to try to ask you a tariff question to trick you. Okay,
I don't.
Ed,
I don't. Let me open my Padfolio here and ask you some questions. No, our trade deficit Tim's. That's light mockery compared to what I usually have to put up with. But I have been trying to read up on this because I haven't heard of tariffs since high school, history class, and we're talking the 1800s somewhere.
Yeah,
I think Alexander Hamilton was he loved tariffs,
he did.
so we're going way back.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to read up on it, and as my wife will tell you, when I start to read up on something, then I become an expert in my own mind, a legend, really, in my own mind. And so I was reading. I had no idea that our trade deficit was like over $1 trillion in 2024. So,
you mean worldwide?
Yes, worldwide with other countries. We're importing more than we are able to export to these other countries. And as a lot of people have said, why did no one seem to get upset at tariffs directed at us? And now that President Trump is trying to even the playing field. Now everyone's squawking. So, talk a little bit about that deficit and how tariffs work, because one of the things the president has said, I listened to a Tucker Carlson interview with the Treasury Secretary. He was saying that if this thing goes well, it may be $600 or $700 billions of dollars of extra revenue coming into the country. So help us understand this.
Yeah, and so at the end of the day, a tariff is a tax on a good or a service coming into the country. And I think the reality is, although we have a trade deficit with regard to goods, we have a massive surplus with regard to services. And so I think that's one factor. The other is we're a far richer country, so we're naturally going to buy far more goods from overseas than we are going to sell.
Because we consume a lot.
Because we consume a lot. And we have the ability to do that with the largest economy in the world. So you have to factor that in there. Now, not to minimize what President Trump is after, because it's absolutely true that there are trade imbalances in some cases that need to be resolved. There are tariffs that are far too high that need to be eliminated. We do need to deal with currency manipulation where that happens, and state-funded activities that make it not a level playing field. And so he's trying to deal with all of that in one fell swoop. Now, why the approach? I mean, could it be more orderly than he's doing it? Absolutely. Is that in his nature? No. That's just not. Now, the other side of this, too, is I think you're going to see the courts step into this, right? And so I think perhaps one of the reasons he's going about it the way he is because he wants to get out in front of it before the courts start shutting him down like they did on the deportation.
Because he himself is slapping tariffs. We all like that phraseology under the auspices of an emergency declaration.
That's right.
So this is ordinarily something that Congress has to institute.
That's right.
Is tariffs on countries, right?
Yeah. And so he's still in good territory and sound footing here with what he's doing, unless the courts say otherwise, that he can't use it for the purpose in which he is.
What? Not to. I don't want to play the part of the liberal.
I did it for you earlier.
You did it for me?
Oh, I got you.
But is a state of emergency, that sounds like a manipulation of what the intention of that was for, just to get by with putting tariffs out there on everybody. Am I the only one who thinks that may be the case?
But is it legal?
It is. My understanding is, again, I'm checking my Padfolio.
I don't think you need a state of emergency.
Well, yeah, the president does.
He does?
Yes. Congress is the one. Now, you're the expert.
I believe that's right.
Congress is the one who has to institute tariffs unless there's a state of emergency. And that is why President Trump said the fentanyl crisis coming across the southern border.
For the whole world?
Well,
tariff for the whole world because fentanyl's coming across Canada.
That's the question that people are asking.
No, I can answer that question for you right now. That's an abuse of power right there. No, listen. If that's the way you've described it, if that's it. Now, if you want to deal with Canada
or Mexico,
then based on that, but if you're telling me he uses that as tariffs, I don't think that's anyway.
Well, that is to Rob's point. That is going to be what's going to be litigated in the courts. Okay. Should anybody who has standing.
This is live radio. Sometimes you speak, and then your brain says you shouldn't have said that. Okay, so I want to say this. I don't know if it's abuse of power or not. I misspoke there. I'm just saying that if in fact you have to have a reason to initiate a tariff beyond, I think it's the right thing to do because I want to level the trading playing field, then I think you're going to have more than that. But anyway, all right, so are we through with tariff talk?
I have a question for Rob.
You're going to have
Well, it relates to the stock market.
Yeah. Okay.
If you are somebody that is planning to retire in the near future, given what has been playing out since Thursday, should you hold off on your retirement?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to come down to your spending plan, right? And can you afford to retire?
Does your back hold out?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's also a big question.
Right. Assuming you can work and, you know, that's still a possibility.
I mean, here's the key. You never want to make any changes in a market like this. Right. And if you were invested in a way that was appropriate, so if you're near retirement, let's say you have a 60-40 portfolio, you're down 8%. Mm-hmm. You're not down a whole lot, and you still, once you hit retirement, have a decades-long need for that money.
Okay.
If you're in good health and the Lord tarries. So, and if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. And so I think, we need to stay with our plan. The last thing you want to do is react emotionally, try to pick a bottom or an entry
Chris
point.
does that. He reacts emotionally.
Well, given that, like Wesley and I are 30 years away from retirement, even close to that point. So should we just calm down and
what
wait
a buying opportunity, right? Stocks are on sale. I mean, we don't get to 14 times PE, which is probably where we should be until we get to 4,000 on the S&P 500, and we're still at 4,900 today.
Okay. All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Thank you, Brother Rob.
Thank you.
Where can people go to read more about this if they want to follow your analysis? And
faithfi.com or tune in to Faith and Finance here on AFR.
Rob is the host of Faith and Finance weekday mornings at 9 a.m. Central Time right here on American Family Radio. Rob West, our financial expert here. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it, brother.
Hey, before I let Rob go, can you just explain to our listeners why you think it's important for them to give to Share-a-thon?
Yeah, I'd be delighted to. These are those few days during the spring that we set aside to invite you to invest here. Here's what Jesus said, is that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So your heart's going to follow your money. Here to American Family Radio, you're going to listen differently. And as a listener-supported ministry, we can't do this without you. So I would just simply ask, what is your part in this? Gifts of all sizes are necessary right now at 877-616-2396 or AFR.net. Listener-supported American Family Radio doesn't happen without you.
Amen. Thank you, Rob. Folks, it is our spring Share-a-thon, and great minds like what you just heard, Rob West, and then even mediocre minds like ours on today's issues are what you're paying for when you give to Share-a-thon.
Now, collectively, we're
probably
above
one good
average.
mind.
Yeah, collectively.
Amongst us. 877-616-2396 is the number to call for our spring Share-a-thon. You can also give at AFR.net. And, folks, we are reminding you that for a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive a book written by Stephen McDowell, The Bible, Divine or Human. Or if you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you will not only receive the book by Stephen McDowell, you will also receive the AFR embossed, and yes, I continue to say it, Padfolio. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a fancy name for a cover. It's a very nice cover, very soft, kind of faux leather for a pad with AFR embossed on the front. It is black. It is a beautiful little Padfolio.
Yeah.
But that's that and the book for becoming a Great Commission partner for a monthly gift of $30 or more. The number again is 877-616-2396.
Give it
All
again.
right.
Let's do all of it. Let's do it all together here.
Okay.
Hold the number. Here we go. 877-616-2396. Call now. Call now. And be as generous as you possibly can. And don't think we don't know if you're not being generous. We're like Santa Claus here. We know everything about your... No, I'm just kidding. 877-616-2396. We'll take a short time out for news, and we'll be back in 5 minutes with more of Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Stay with us.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, we'll send you Stephen McDowell's book, The Bible, Divine or Human. And for a monthly pledge of $30 or more, we'll send you the book, plus an AFR Padfolio. Call now at 877-616-2396 and make your pledge. Or give online at afr.net. And thank you for your support during Share-a-thon.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. A win for the Trump administration and a blow against activist lower court judges. The Supreme Court said yesterday that the administration can continue to deport illegal alien gang members. Attorney General Pam Bondi called it a landmark victory for the rule of law.
And this is what we've been arguing on behalf of President Trump from day one. These are enemies of our state, of our country, and they should be deported. And what the judge ruled was going forward, from this day forward, all those planes that are gone are there. Those people are staying. So there are a lot of reasons why Americans are safer. From this point forward, the hearing will be held, it's a habeas hearing, in the court of confinement, which means in Texas.
Yeah.
So it will be a much faster hearing. They can't do class actions. It will be a much smoother, simpler hearing, and these people will be deported. Americans are safer, and domestic terrorists, foreign terrorists, you better look out because we're coming after you. I'd start self-deporting if I were you, because we're going to find you.
President Donald Trump threatened Monday to add 50% more tariffs on China if the country didn't pull back the 34% tariffs it imposed in response to President Trump. New Jersey Republican Representative Jeff Van Drew stresses the importance of maintaining the tariffs.
Our supply chain is so important. If we continue in this way, not only is it a financial problem, it is a national security problem because we're not going to make anything of our own stuff.
Tomorrow, a Vermont Christian school gets its day in court, 2 years after being banned from state athletic events after its girls' basketball team refused to play against a team with a biological male. Mid-Vermont Christian School girls' basketball coach Chris Goodwin says the state of Vermont banned the school from playing any sport. But he says he will not allow girls to play against boys, and he's not backing down.
Whether you believe the way we believe and have our same religious beliefs or not, almost every coach I've talked to agrees with how we're handling this situation. It's not just people who have the same religious beliefs that, boys and girls are created differently, and out of that come definitely physical advantages for males, especially in high school. But it's really the general population that I believe gets it and understands that we're in the right on this.
The school is represented by Alliance Defending Freedom. This is attorney David Cortman.
It is, and it's incredible because we've seen this play out from coast to coast situations in Connecticut with the track runners, volleyball, out west. And so this is just another one of those situations where school districts are taking this wayward political agenda and punishing anybody who dissents. And in this particular case, the school followed its religious beliefs, which happen to coincide with biology, that boys are boys and girls are girls. You would think that would be common sense by now.
An organization that endorses military chaplains has encouraged the Secretary of Veterans Affairs to reestablish control over all the VA centers across the country when it comes to hiring and policy authority.
As we have reported on AFN, Chaplain Rusty Truby is an Army Reserve chaplain, veteran, and former missionary who has served the veterans of the Coatesville, Pennsylvania VA Medical Center for the past 10 years. Last June, as part of his normal duties, he led a worship service in the hospital's chapel, where he preached from the first chapter of Romans. The VA, however, threatened Chaplain Truby for preaching that sermon. Bishop Derek Jones is Executive Director of the Chaplain Alliance for Religious Liberty.
Part of this problem stems from the fact that Coatesville can establish their own policies because during the Obama years, they decentralized all of the chaplains from the Chaplain Center in Hampton, Virginia, to give hiring authority and policy authority to the local VAs. So now all you need is a woke VA who doesn't like Christians, and they can completely censor chaplains from doing their job.
So Jones sent a letter to VA Secretary Doug Collins encouraging him to intervene on behalf of Chaplain Truby.
I urged Secretary Collins to consider bringing and pulling authority back to the National VA Chaplain Services Office. That falls directly underneath his oversight. Our charge and our hope is that he will return authority for setting policy and even hiring approval back to Hampton Roads, because they're in a better position to check credentials, work with endorsers, all the things that are important for a strong VA chaplaincy.
I'm Chad Groen.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hi, it's Allison from Virginia, and I've been an AFR listener since it started in Richmond in the 90s. AFR has been my partner in the spiritual war taking place for this country. The American Family Association loves the United States and is standing on God's word for its guidance. God is my strength, and AFR is my partner in trying to spread the truth and to keep people educated. Thank you so much.
In Isaiah chapter 44, verse 3, God says, "For I will pour water on the thirsty land and streams on the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessings on your descendants." It's Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Help us rejoice in God's promise to pour out His Spirit. Call now and partner with AFR at 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. Or give online at afr.net.
Just like Silas singing with Paul, praise can break down prison walls. Jesus, you can have it all. Won't you pour your spirit out?
Hey, what a great song. Who's the singer there? Brent Creeley, do you know? Our producer find out. Isn't that a great song?
I think it's Brent Creeley.
Yeah.
Is that Brent?
I don't
Creeley, our
think it's
producer?
Brent Creeley. Brent Creeley, our producer's gifted in a lot of areas.
What we did is we asked AI to get Brent Creeley's voice on it.
All right, welcome back to Share-a-thon. We'll be here till noon Central Time. This foursome will be, and then we'll have Brother Todd Herman will be coming in. He's in studio, by the way.
He's in studio, yeah.
There's recording, I guess, across the window here.
Yes.
I see his hands.
Todd's from Idaho, but he found Mississippi on the map and came here to visit us. So with a banjo on his knee, actually, all the way. So Tim Wildman here with Ed Vitagliano, Wesley Wildman, and Steve Paisley Jordahl, and he's rocking the Paisley.
I am. I figured the first day, might as well.
I've got that answer for you, Tim.
Okay, who was the song we just played? Who was that?
Thrive, worship.
Thrive,
worship.
Well, what a great song, and they did a great job of that. And we thank you for listening to American Family Radio. This is Share-a-thon Day 1. We'll be here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll close out Share-a-thon on Thursday afternoon. But in the meantime, we're having a good time, and we're celebrating the goodness of God, and we're celebrating the faithfulness of our listeners and supporters who believe in the ministry of American Family Radio and are calling in their donations. Ed?
Yeah, absolutely. The number to call if you would like to give to our Share-a-thon is 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. We have folks who are in Share-a-thon Central just down the hallway waiting to take your call, or you can go online at afr.net. Now, we do have between 11 a.m., this is Central Time, between 11 a.m., so it is underway, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., we are challenging our listening audience. We want 100 listeners to become a Great Commission partner. That is a monthly supporter of American Family Radio. You give monthly. You don't have to worry about writing a check. You can do it, as you probably
Don't
well
worry
know,
about it.
But
There's no sense in worrying about writing a check.
yeah, you don't want to worry.
No,
about
just
that.
do a bank draft or
credit card.
Credit card. It's easy to do, and you don't have to worry about finding a stamp at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you're looking through your drawers at your house trying to find a stamp. You don't need to do that.
You don't need to do that.
No. How can they avoid that, Ed?
Well, they can become a Great Commission partner. They can give monthly. So we're challenging 100 listeners to become a monthly supporter during this roughly 2 hours between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. I do want to make mention of the fact that we do have our Spring Share-a-thon premiums. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive a book by Stephen McDowell, The Bible, Divine or Human. Or if you become the aforementioned Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you not only receive the Stephen McDowell book, but the AFR embossed Padfolio. We do have a difference of opinion on this show as to whether or not I should continue calling it a Padfolio, but I will challenge the rest of you. Do you have a better word for this?
Yeah, a notepad.
No. What about the notepad cover?
A notepad that zips up.
Yes.
The black zippy doohickey thingy.
Yeah, all right, folks. I think you know who the winner
I'll
is.
tell you what,
of
though,
this.
if I were going to make a donation to a share-a-thon, I would want the Padfolio.
You'd want the Padfolio.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, you don't want just a notebook.
A notebook with a zipper?
With
Nobody
a zipper?
wants that.
What is that? It's a
You want a
Padfolio. It's got AFR embossed on the very nice pleather cover. And so the number to call is 877-616-2396. We have people standing by.
I think you're practicing your QVC voice too much.
People are standing by to take your call.
For the Padfolio.
For the
All
crock
right.
pot. For the crock pot.
Well, we do have a challenge going on.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yes, it is. We're challenging 100 listeners to become a monthly supporter, become a Great Commission partner. That is going on until 1 p.m. Central Time.
So for context, we had a rough between 75 and 80 individual pledges last hour. So we need to up that. So we're going to have to give out the number even more this hour. If we're wanting to get to 100, is that right? 100 Great Commission partners this hour? Is that right?
No, between now and 1 p.m.
Okay.
So we've got roughly an hour and 50 minutes, 50, for that 100 Great Commission partners. That's a doable challenge.
Very doable. You know what? I'm still going to give the number out again. Let's
Oh,
give it
yeah,
out.
do it.
All right,
Do it.
877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. Or visit afr.net.
Steve, over to you.
Yeah, every time I hear you guys say challenge, I expect somewhere in that conversation to be the word duel. So,
like the old West?
Yeah, 50 paces.
Yeah.
Or sports.
I challenge you.
All right. Hey, good news out of Florida and our friends at First Liberty. So, in 2022, a church called New Way Church in Palm Coast, Florida, had a local candidate for school board at their church. And during the worship service, the political candidate addressed the crowd. Hi, how are you doing? This is who I am. And they prayed for this candidate. Someone told the IRS, and the IRS brought them to court saying they were going to challenge their tax-exempt status because they were praying for a political candidate during a worship service. Yeah. Well, there's a new sheriff in town, and as of March 21, that lawsuit has been dropped. Although I will have to give kudos to First Liberty, who thinks it's all because they got involved. I'm sure it is, but
Okay, so this is one of those things where we try to be careful not to endorse particular candidates. We do talk about issues, and so this was a church that prayed that a particular candidate would get elected.
No, they prayed for the candidate. The candidate came and said hi.
Oh, just prayed for the candidate?
Yeah.
Oh, that's absurd.
Let me
That
guess,
was under the Biden
let me guess it's a
administration.
conservative
Yes.
church.
Yes.
That's
because
good
that wouldn't
point.
have happened at the.
That's a bingo
No,
right
if
there.
it's a liberal church, they don't care. That happens all the time.
How many times have you seen Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden or any of the Democrat?
Oh, yeah.
presidents yeah.
I've seen and heard Hillary Clinton's accent change when she's in
Right.
a black church.
Yeah.
Then she suddenly starts talking kind of in a Southern accent.
I know.
It's just
Kamala Harris had that gift too.
She did.
yeah.
She could change. She could switch accents depending on where she was.
That's quite a power.
We in the Christian church have the gift of tongues. They don't quite. They're not near as powerful. So they just have the gift of accents.
The gift of accents, right there in 1 Corinthians chapter 13,
Somewhere
chapter
there.
12.
I think it's more in First Opinions. Somewhere.
Next story, Steve.
All right. Our friends over at MRC have been. Do you know? I talked to one of their people. Do you know that
Who's MRC for those who
Media
don't know?
Research Center?
Okay.
They are kind of a media watchdog, a conservative media watchdog that holds the news outlets accountable when they are do the double standard thing. Anyway, they have someone, and I hope this guy's getting paid a lot of money. They have someone that does nothing but watch The View.
Oh my goodness!
Could you imagine?
That's got to be whoever the rookie is.
I know, right?
Whoever's the most recent hire. Oh, what's my job? You get to watch The View.
Well, this person wrote a report. They counted us some stuff, and in the first 4 months of this year, The View had 63 guests, 63 liberals, and 0 conservatives. It doesn't really shock you
It's
if you
not
know The
shocking.
View, but still.
I just need to be careful.
What?
You know, I don't need to speak ill of the dead, and by that I mean intellectually dead.
That's well played, Ed.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
you could end there. That was good.
I had written that down earlier on my Padfolio. So
That's right.
you know, they are shrill, they are hypocritical, and they don't. Think logically.
Please don't do spoiler alert. I've got it taped.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm recording it at home.
Yeah.
You don't want me to give away what happens?
I think I can't prove this. This is just Wesley's thoughts here. I feel as if they're more comical. I think they get more views or response from people like us that find humor or mockery in what they do than actually people that follow them for constructive help.
It's interesting you say that because at our story meeting at the newsroom,
does any of that make sense?
Someone said because Fox News will pick up on an MRC study like this, and they'll play the clips. More people watch The View on Fox than watch The View.
Yes.
Now their viewership is not bad. That's what I thought.
Listen, they have we're talking about The View with those 4.
Almost 3 million people per episode.
That's like Bill O'Reilly's numbers, nighttime.
Yeah,
that's
but
what he would draw.
this is during the day.
Yeah. So anyway, but my point is they have their niche and they know it.
Right.
And it's not dumb. It's smart for them to cater to one particular niche, which is liberal women out there across America. So just like Fox appeals a lot of times to conservatives, they know where their bread's buttered, so to speak, and they stick with it. So
always want to, when I see clips of them, I always want to say to the TV or to the screen, calm down, ladies. But I know how well that I know how well that goes over.
But there's not much intellectual juice right there with that bunch.
No,
there's just not. It's just
real shallow about that.
Yeah.
For those that are watching, about that deep.
It's interesting, Ed. You said that it's a little even more surprising because it's in the daytime. But what you're not taking into consideration is their audience is comprised of all those people that the Democrats pay to go to protests. They don't have jobs, so they watch The View. So
that could be. That could be.
All right, you're listening to Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, and Wesley with Steve. We thank you for listening. We encourage you to call in and make a pledge and become a monthly donor. Please consider that because that's the backbone of our financial stability, is to know that we can count on a certain amount of revenue each month. And we get that because people say, hey, put me down for $30, $40, $50 a month, $100 a month, or whatever the case may be. Many of you already do that, and for that we're very grateful and appreciative. But if you have been considering doing that, you can do that where you got your debit card, credit card,
bank draft.
Bank draft. There's bank draft. Many people pay bills by bank draft,
right?
That way you don't have to worry about it each month, and you don't have to find an envelope or a stamp and write a check. So if you would consider putting us in that category, we would be very, very grateful, so that we can know what to count on. Ever how much you want to donate monthly, and so we're trying to get 100 new. We call those people who support us monthly in the way we just mentioned, Great Commission partners. And so we're trying to get 100 new Great Commission partners between now and noon Central Time, right?
1 o'clock Central Time.
1 o'clock.
I made that mistake earlier. That's me. I said noon, but it's 1.
1 o'clock Central Time. So if you, if that is what you want to do, I'm about to give you the phone number. Or if you're just wanting to give a gift of any size to American Family Radio, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing Share-a-thon, to bring our financial needs to our listeners, because we are listener-supported Christian radio. Here's the phone number to reach us, 877-616-2396. That's a phone number that rings right here in our studios. Well, not in these physical studios, but right down the hall where we have people answering the phone. 877-616-2396. The website is afr.net. Just go to afr.net and you can give that way. Somebody going to say something?
I was just going to say, folks, we encourage you to call to get our Share-a-thon staff busy, because if they're not answering phones, I'm just going to speak from the heart here.
Share your heart, Ed.
They go into the hallway and start to eat our food. Okay?
That is not a joke.
That is all kinds of snacks there.
Well, we put it out there.
We put it out there, but we want some left over.
Okay.
And if they're all eating the snacks, guess what? There's not much left over for Tim and I and Wesley and Steve.
Right. Keep them busy.
Brent. So keep them busy. Keep them answering that phone and their hands on the computer.
Yeah, away from the Little Debbies. Right? Or the Twinkies.
Yeah, that's right.
We got a lot of health food on that table back there. Have you seen the honey buns?
I saw them briefly.
They're honey buns that are high antioxidants. It's an unusual combo.
Well, honey, high in vitamin C, vitamin A.
Mm-hmm.
So 877-616-2396 is the number to call. That's 877-616-2396. It is our spring Share-a-thon, and the theme of our spring Share-a-thon is Pour Out Your Spirit.
Vitamin cholesterol.
What now?
They're full of vitamin cholesterol as well.
Honey buns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vitamin fortified cholesterol.
Fortified cholesterol, right?
Honey buns are one of those things you do not look at the calories or the contents.
No.
Just rip the package off and go to town.
That's most of those Hostess or Little Debbie snacks.
Yeah, and
you do not want to look at them.
Don't look at that.
No.
If you're going to do that, don't eat it.
Yes,
okay?
that's right.
Don't even pick it up in the first place.
Kind of like they say in some stores or restaurants, if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it.
Bingo.
And so if you
have to look at the calories on the back of a honey bun,
don't eat.
You can't afford to eat it.
That's
okay.
That's right.
Your mouth is writing checks your body can't cash.
That's right.
Let's hear from one of our fine listeners from across the U.S. of A.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Taylor. I'm calling from Jacksonville, Arkansas. I just wanted to say that for a period of time, I was very lost and addicted to drugs, highly addicted and living out on the streets, homeless. My own mother and father had to turn me away at times when I'd asked to spend the night in their home. It was a difficult thing for them to do, but eventually God got a hold of me and they began to allow me to use their vehicle to go to work because I got a new job, and they had it on AFR, and I would listen to it every day. And Abraham Hamilton helped me to find out there was a better purpose for me, and I started to give my life to the Lord and gained a relationship back with my own children, and I have custody of them to this day. God has completely eradicated any drugs and alcohol from my life, and I live my life for Him now, and I listen to y'all faithfully, and I'm very grateful for the changes y'all helped me make in my life through your ministry. Thank you, and God bless you.
Amen.
We've had some good listener testimonies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's powerful.
Absolutely. And the bottom line there of that message is God can change your life.
Amen. We have a lot of gospel programming on American Family Radio. This show, for the most part, Today's Issues is what you're listening to. We do talk a lot about politics, but we will sometimes veer into some little bit of preaching. But we do have gospel programs. Abraham Hamilton III, his show, he starts off with a little Bible study, before he gets into the politics and the events of the day. There's a lot of gospel going forward, and the gospel changes lives.
Abe is a preacher, and he has an uncanny knack of being able to take the political and make a spiritual implication and application to it.
Yeah, and by preacher, you were speaking literally.
Literally,
he's a pastor
at a church,
part-time at a church here, but he works here full-time. Is our
Next
general
story,
counsel.
Steve.
All right, we talked. Maybe it was yesterday, about this bill in Colorado that would favor transgender kids if the parents if it passed. It hasn't passed yet, but I'm going to tell you it's almost redundant because I have a story out of Colorado that from the Federalist. Federalist says they've changed the names to protect the anonymity of these people involved, but there's a couple that they're calling Robert Cameron and Nancy Drake, who they're divorced, but they have a son together, and he's 13 years old. He's now 14, and mom wants him is teamed up with what the Federalist calls an activist therapist, and they are putting him through, giving him puberty blockers and all the rest. And Dad says no. Dad says my goal is just to get him to 18 so he can make this decision by himself.
Right.
I'm sure that he would prefer he not do it, but the court has completely taken any rights of the father away. Now, the father's not allowed to talk to the kid at all about this issue and has no parental rights now.
Now, tell me where this story is. Is it on AFN, or where did you find this one?
This is from the Federalist. If you look, the headline is "Father Fights to Keep Government from Sterilizing His Son."
I'm just going to tell you, it's dangerous to live in a blue state.
Yes, it is, especially for families, but in general, but especially for families.
A deep blue state in particular.
Yeah.
And Colorado's pretty blue.
I was talking to somebody the other day that was asking me, because I lived there for 15 years. I moved there in 2001.
It was red then.
And it was pretty red. But over the years, there's a large contingency of gay rights activists. Tim Gill, his foundation, was in Colorado Springs and put tons of money into turning that state blue. And it was purple for a while, and now it's fairly blue. I know
when they legalized recreational marijuana, I knew they were gone.
I remember the day.
Well, Tim Gill, as you mentioned, homosexual, but he's a billionaire businessman. Yeah. He set out, this is probably 10 years ago, he set out to use his money and the money from the foundations that he had set up to change states. In fact, he said, while other groups are working at the national level, I'm working at the local and state level. And it was very shrewd.
What was his name?
Tim Gill.
What did he do? What was he known for?
He's a Cork, I think maybe.
I don't know how he made his money.
He has the
Gill Foundation. It's kind of like the Soros Open Society, although Tim Gill is very deeply involved in funding politics on the Democrat side.
He's like George Soros, except he's an American.
He's doing local states.
He was the founder of the page layout software company Quark, and that is where he made a bunch of his money. He sold his stake in the company Quark in 1999 for a reported $500 million. And he set aside 60% of his assets, more than $300 million, to fight for LGBTQ rights.
Now, wait a minute. He's living off just $200 million? That's all?
Yeah, he's also the co-founder and chief technology officer of Josh AI. Oh. So I'm sure he's got other monies.
Good, because I was worried for him.
$200 million. You don't want to get below that $200 million
That's a
number.
Threshold. Right there.
Start getting nervous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Making your house note.
I tell my wife when she goes to Sam's or she goes, somewhere, I say, look, do not spend and put us under that 200 million.
Right.
Keep it under $1 million, darling.
Yeah.
Even if it means putting the Skittles back, right?
That's right.
Just
If you
don't do it.
Do what you got to do,
what
man.
you got to do. 877-616-2396 or visit AFR.net. Help us get to 100 Great Commission partners before 1 p.m. Central Time today, please.
Amen.
During our share-a-thon.
There you go. 877-616-2396. It is our spring share-a-thon.
It is. What's our theme?
Our theme is Pour Out Your Spirit. Pour out your spirit. And that is based on Isaiah 44:3, where the Lord promises, I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. We're asking God to bless our country with a move of God. That's what we're looking for in our
Hey, boys,
nation.
we're coming back, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we will be
Break.
back momentarily with the last half hour of Share-a-thon for
On this show.
For our show.
AFA General Counsel Abraham Hamilton III.
Wow. American Family Association, American Family Radio, American Family News, 1 Million Moms, American Family Studios, AFA Action, iVoter Guide, the Center for Judicial Renewal, the Center for Governmental Renewal, all of these various areas under the AFA umbrella, the American Family Association Foundation. All of these branches of this ministry are vital. And I do not believe I can successfully overstate their significance in this time period. We just saw, Mark Zuckerberg, after sitting for at least 3 years on the fact that the Harris-Biden administration pressured him, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp to suppress COVID-19 information, to demote the Hunter Biden laptop story. These kind of things, in my view, reveal just how important having this alternative media reach as well as ministry to plant the flag for faithfulness to Scripture and to the Lord above everything is inestimably important in this time period. I've said on my program that 2024 is to America what 1998 was to Venezuela. What some people may not be aware of is that it was in 1998 that the Venezuelans eagerly voted for Hugo Chavez. Being ignorant of what was to come thereafter, I don't believe most people, if they saw that you would have government-imposed 15-pound weight loss, you would have the rapid, overwhelming inflation, you would have the elimination of religious liberty, freedom of speech and expression, freedom to gather, all of these things. They didn't see those things coming. They didn't see their right to keep and bear arms being encroached upon by the government, but all those things happened following their election of Hugo Chavez. People think because you put the term Democratic in front of socialist, it somehow lessens the significant evil that is prevalent in socialism, but it doesn't. Because those who have voted for socialism in world history have only had that opportunity one time. I think a finer point on the necessity of having a ministry that is willing to boldly stand on God's word, resist the trends and the tides in culture, and to say flat-footed, come what may. We know you built a statue, Nebuchadnezzar. We know that. But come what may, we will not bow to your statue because the God that we serve is well able to deliver us from you and your fiery furnace. And even if he does not, we refuse to bow because the God that we serve is worthy for us to serve him and him alone, even unto the loss of our natural lives. And so when you support this ministry, and I'm honored to be a part of this ministry, this is what you're getting to invest yourself and your resources in. And by God's grace, may we continue to fight the good fight until our Lord returns or until he calls us home.
Pastor Tony, I'm from Texas. Hi, I'm calling because I'm blessed by this radio station. I'm a Hispanic ministry pastor, and my days start at about 10 a.m. with today's issues, and I keep on listening all the way down till I'm done working. And I'm blessed by this radio station, edified. And I thank God for you guys. You guys keep me informed. And with the Hispanic community, I just pass on the information, and we feel like we're very up to date. So thank you for everything you do. God bless you all.
Share-a-thon continues on American Family Radio, and we rejoice in God's promise to pour out his Spirit. Call now at 877-616-2396 or give online at afr.net. And thank you for partnering with AFR during Share-a-thon.
Won't you pour your spirit out?
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Share-a-thon. You might be wondering, hey, where is In Grace on American Family Radio, which we normally air Monday through Friday at this time slot? Well, during Share-a-thon, we do some interruptions of our regularly scheduled programming, and this is the half hour we do that. One of the half hours we do that. So, In Grace will be back on the air Friday with American Family Radio. So that it hadn't been canceled or anything like that. So.
And it'll be right after Trivia Friday.
That's
right back with Trivia Friday on
I
Friday.
want you guys to know that the last 3 months I've been working out very hard so that I can have the stamina to go this extra half hour.
You have been?
Good to know.
Oh, yeah.
It's every 4 or 5 honey buns. How many?
Yeah.
At least.
Well, we're going 25 and a half more minutes here on American Family Radio.
I can do it.
And we appreciate you listening to Share-a-thon. It's spring Share-a-thon. We do this twice a year, in the fall and the spring, so we'll be back in October. But this is Tuesday, day one of 3 days of our Share-a-thon on American Family Radio. And in the words of Gomer Pyle, we just want to say for all those who called already, thank ye, thank ye, thank ye.
That's right.
So here's the folks who called in. I've got a few of them here. This is in the last few minutes, or at least the last hour. William in Jamestown, North Dakota. Aaron in Wichita, Kansas. Connie in Findlay, Ohio. And Robert in Lubbock, Texas. And James in Douglas, Georgia. Who else, Ed?
Well, we got Jessica, and is that Mamou, Louisiana?
Mamou, yeah.
Wesley in Mechanicsville, Virginia.
No, I'm right here, bub.
Okay. All right. We have Dakota from Demopolis, Alabama. Diane from Greenville, North Carolina. We have Laura from Marengo, Ohio. I like that name, Marengo.
Hey, I got a pro tip for you, Ed.
Yeah.
Pick names you can pronounce.
He was doing that. He
Yeah.
intentionally skipped a couple.
I did.
Because he didn't know how to pronounce
Well,
it exactly.
the first thing he said, is that how you pronounce it, Pastor?
Yeah. Anyway, we are truly American Family Radio because our supporters are Christian brothers and sisters from all over the U.S.
Sometimes they're in very blue states like California, Oregon, Washington State.
Right.
Massachusetts.
Desperately crying out for sanity and help.
That's
and
right.
they get it here on American Family Radio. All right, thank you for listening. If you want to make a gift, please call and be as generous as you possibly can. Why, you ask? Because without you, our financial supporters, there is no American Family Radio. We depend on you, and thank God since 1991, since AFR was first went on the air, was station number one. People have always responded. Our listeners have always responded with the finances that we needed to carry on.
And even expand. We added a couple of radio stations in Alabama just this past year. We're looking at others. I always say my big dream is for God to open a door for us to have a radio station in Boston, Massachusetts, just for the thrills of seeing people's heads spin off in a very blue
That's a good
city.
Christian motivation.
Yes. So,
I like
anyway,
that.
so we do keep our eyes open. You can't just say we want a radio station in Boston, folks. You have to act. The FCC has to approve it. There have to be openings on the dial, so to speak.
And then it takes money.
And then it takes money.
So here's
it would take a lot of money for Boston.
Here's the phone number to call and make a gift to AFR, 877-616-2396. Again, 877-616-2396, or go online to afr.net.
We probably could come up on a listener testimony.
All right, let's play one. Play one.
Hi, my name's Connie, and I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I direct an event in my state capital called Capitol House of Prayer, which is a prayer for leaders in our state, and I really glean a lot of necessary information from AFR to just get a greater understanding about ways to pray for government officials and just really appreciate all the people there and the fact that they're holding the line. And I just want to say thanks.
Wow, that's great. Hearing from a listener who heads up a prayer group in the state capital of Ohio.
In praying for political leaders, man, folks, prayer is a very important. We're commanded to pray for those in authority over us, even those who hold political positions, because God established political authority. That's what Romans 13 says. So if God established political authority, if he has a purpose for government, and if he prefers government to do one thing as opposed to another, which in Romans 13 it is to uphold what is good and punish what is evil, and that means good and evil as God sees it, not man, then we should pray for, and in our case, in this country, be involved in the political arena. So kudos to that sister in Columbus, Ohio.
I completely agree with you, Ed. Also, too, I don't think we're being direct enough on today's issues. I'm looking at the numbers here, and let me be very specific. We hear it on today's issues where there's different programmings with different styles and different preferences, but if you enjoy today's issues, please call in and help us. Our numbers, we got a challenge. Our challenge is all the way up to 1 p.m. It's to get 100
Central Time.
We have 1 p.m. Central Time to get 100 great commission partners. And we're asking you, if you enjoy the program, please call in, help us support during this hour. 877-616-2396, 877-616-2396, or visit afr.net. So call in right now. Show your appreciation specifically for today's issues right now.
Amen. Because, folks, I'm just going to tell you, let me just speak honestly
Share your heart,
to our
Ed.
listeners. I'm sharing.
Share your heart. Share
big
like
time.
you've never shared
like
before.
sharing does.
Listen, there are other shows that if they do better than us, they let us hear it.
That's true.
You think Walker doesn't let us hear it? You think Dr.
We have to go to lunch with him in a little bit.
We would go to lunch with it, and they let us hear it if they do better than our show in terms of the number of pledges and the amount pledged. So please, for the sake of our pride and dignity,
which the Bible talks about having,
right? Help us do better than our brethren.
Yes.
So that we can mock them at lunchtime.
I hope this isn't out of line, but folks, we do control the news here on this program, and we might send you a Democrat politician to represent you if you don't give.
Ooh, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
That's true.
877-616-2396. Literally, make us proud, folks. Make us proud of this segment during Share-a-thon. 877-616-2396. Or you can give safely and securely online at afr.net.
Are you asking for pride, Ed, is the spiritual equivalent of the it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Permission. Folks, I was just kidding.
I think now it's time for Tariff Talk.
We're going to slow things down.
I do actually have
Steve Jordahl is going to bring us a tariff story.
I am. This is the tariff story. Our trade war with China continues. It's heating up. It's heating up now, and I have it on good authority from our friends at the Babylon Bee that China is retaliating against tariffs by putting worse fortunes into fortune cookies.
That's a good one.
Best fortune I ever got at a fortune cookie at a Chinese restaurant was that wasn't chicken. It made me think.
Yeah.
Got a fortune cookie.
Said that ain't
finished your meal.
Yeah,
said that wasn't.
I'm
chicken?
just kidding.
Yeah,
I think that was actually on the Far Side comic.
Okay.
Can we get a little bit less serious? Because did you guys watch the final of the college basketball tournament?
I did. What a great championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, it came down to the last few seconds.
Did you want to hear that?
Houston.
Florida beat Houston, yeah.
Let's listen to the last couple seconds as called by the network, Cut 11.
It was the other night. National championship is in the balance. 13 seconds left. Florida leads it by 2.
Uzan got to go.
Uzan, give it up. Cryer, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, Sharp.
He walked. He can't touch it.
He can't. 1 second. And it's over. Florida is back on top of the college basketball world.
There you go.
There's nothing. Is there anything more exciting than, I'll just say, college sports?
Certainly not hockey.
Well, no, hockey's very exciting. Don't get me wrong.
Everything's
As a
beautiful in its
professional.
own way, Steve. You don't know this?
Everything is beautiful.
College sports, though, is at the very least a couple of notches above everything else.
I did not understand that until I moved to the SEC country.
Yeah.
Because out in Mountain West, in Colorado Springs, Air Force. Go Air Force. Off we go into the Wild Blue Yonder. But
Probably Broncos with the big thing there, right?
Yeah.
The Nuggets,
but
maybe?
I'm a Raider fan, so it wasn't pleasant.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But, college sports down here is a whole other level.
Yeah.
Well, the University of Florida wins the men's national championship in basketball, so congratulations to the Gators. Something about saying Florida and basketball championship just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
It's unusual.
It's like baseball, football country or something.
Well, I don't know. If you think back about 10 years ago when they had Hakeem Noah, they had
a great team.
They had about a 4 or 5 year run there where they did.
They won back-to-back championships. I think it was like 2007, 2008, somewhere
That's
around
right.
there.
Yep.
Yeah. Just be careful around those Florida fans because they start doing that chop thing with their arms.
Gator chomp.
The gator
And that's
chomp.
look. See, you got 90,000 people doing this right here. People get hurt. You know what I'm saying?
You can poke your eye out, kid.
That's the non-racist chant from the Atlanta Braves.
Florida
Kansas City Chiefs.
Seminoles.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, you're listening to American Family Radio. We are in day one of Share-a-thon. We thank you for listening to AFR across the country. We hope you're enjoying our Share-a-thon. We, try not to just sit here and say send money, send money, send money, send money. Although we could do that. We could do that sometime.
And you know what? Your dad used to be unapologetic. I remember I've been here 29 years. He would, Brother Don, the founder of this ministry, would say, we treat our listeners like grown-ups. Right. And they know that a ministry of this size, staff and insurance for the radio towers, all of that for now a radio network well over 170 radio stations. He says we will treat our listeners like adults. They know we need to have that money. Mm-hmm. And folks, you are listening to American Family Radio right now because 6 months ago during our 2024 Fall Share-a-thon, people gave. So in a sense, we're asking you to make sure that we stay on the air for the next 6 months until our next Share-a-thon in the fall.
Pass it forward.
Pass it forward. Yeah,
Isn't that what they say?
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. Pass it forward is like Patrick Mahomes.
You can do that once in a play.
Yes.
Right.
877.
What you're giving numbers. What are the numbers?
This is the number to call in to Share-a-thon Central. There are people who are listening and ready to take your information. 877-616-2396. 877-616-2396. Now, Wesley is going to talk about our spring premiums for our spring Share-a-thon.
For a one-time gift of $150 or more, you can get the complimentary gift book from Stephen McDowell. He's the author. It's called The Bible, Divine or Human, and the subtitle is Evidence of Biblical Infallibility and the Support for Building Your Life and a Nation on Biblical Truth. It's a wonderful booklet. I've read it multiple times, highlighted, underlined it, and I still reference back to this many, many times. So for a one-time gift of $150 or more, you can receive that book. In addition to that, if you become a Great Commission partner with us, we will send you the book that I just described and the embossed padfolio, AF4 padfolio that has a place where you can take notes, and obviously it will be covered out of the weather with its outside leather case, and we would send you both of those if you become a Great Commission partner for $30 or more.
What did you call it? An outside cover case?
No, I said that it will be covered from outside elements like the wind, rain, cover, because you can zip it up.
Gotcha.
So it's more than just a notepad.
Yes, that's right.
More than just a
it's
notepad.
leather, right?
Leather.
I might, because it would be cool, take that and take the embossed AFR thing, and I would.
We're on the air. But I appreciate you doing that.
Hey, JJ.
Look,
Yeah.
JJ Jasper's aging, ladies and gentlemen. He's just rambling around the office.
Well, in JJ's defense, we're normally off the air at 11:30. So
Hey, that is true. He didn't know. It's okay. Come back. You can come back later. Yeah.
Get on the microphone.
Yeah. No, we're going.
Oh, we can't. Okay.
So what we need to do for the sake of our audience
back.
is reset to what just happened.
Okay. For those who don't know, you didn't see this play. We're going to do an instant replay here.
That's right. Instant replay.
We're in studio doing live share-a-thon, the four of us, and we're normally off the air at 11:30. So
Right.
I don't know. JJ thought we were not on the air. So JJ Jasper, who's on Trivia Friday with us and host of the morning show on the AFR music side with John Riley, he opens the door into the studio while we're live on air and brings in his trophy wife and starts showing her off. And what?
He wasn't showing off his wife.
That's what he said.
He wanted to come in and congratulate you for picking the national champion.
Hold on a second. Brent Creeley, step to the microphone. I'm not trying to put you between me and the rest of the guys here.
It did
What
say-
what did JJ say when he walked in the room?
He said, "Hi, I brought Melanie along for show and tell."
Did he really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
And let me
Oh, he
define.
did. He wanted to show off his wife.
Let me define what he meant by that. What he said, what he means is, she's usually not around the office. You don't usually get to see her, so I wanted to bring her by and let y'all know she's here.
That's
and
right.
say
So
hi.
that's what happened right there.
Yes.
My description of trophy wife, I was just joking around. He wanted to show off his lovely and talented
Absolutely.
wife and let us know that she for the few times a year that she comes into the studios,
she's
and
here.
and the building, she's here today, and he wanted us to say hello to her.
That's it.
And I got to say, I am rarely, except in my own house, do I have someone so energetically make sure they prove that I'm wrong. As what Tim just did.
I'm sorry. I get no joy in that. But I felt the need to.
Yes, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
know what
I
happened
contradicted you.
Yes,
I said, yeah.
Yeah, you.
That
yeah,
was
so
that was a little weird though to have him start talking. I'm
So that's what just
So
happened.
this has caused what you call in the English language discombobulation.
Yes.
In the studio, we need a reset.
We need to reset
and get back to our professional coverage of Share-a-thon.
It is Share-a-thon. It is our spring Share-a-thon, and the theme for our Share-a-thon is Pour Your Spirit Out. It is based on Isaiah 44:3, which says, in part, this is God's promise, I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants, to which I say, God may it be. And so it is Share-a-thon. We ask our listeners to help support American Family Radio. If you would like to do that, the number to call is 877-616-2396. We have folks waiting in Share-a-thon Central to take your call, 877-616-2396 until 1 o'clock Central Time, so just over an hour. We are challenging 100 listeners to become a monthly supporter. That is a Great Commission partner. 877-616-2396 is the number to call.
All right, Steve, what's your next story?
All right. Have you guys noticed that President Trump is having a lot more fun this time in this term than he did in his first?
He is having fun.
He just looks way more relaxed. He really he hasn't picked a lot of fights.
Slapping
with the media.
tariffs left and right.
That can be exhausting.
Well, it's exhausting, but it's fun.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have to be as defensive this go around as he did the first go around.
No, so he was at the White House yesterday. The Los Angeles Dodgers, who won the World Series, were visiting as they invite championship teams in. And you know, at these events, it's custom for, first of all the lawmakers, the congressmen, senators, and everything from whatever state the championship team is from to come in and be at that ceremony. And it's also custom for the president to point them out. We're glad to have so-and-so and so-and-so.
Senator so-and-so.
Yeah. Well, President Trump was with the Dodgers last night, and it came time to introduce everybody, and this is what happened. Cut 12.
Congratulations, Brian. And others, we have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce. over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team. I didn't think it was that big a deal, actually. It's Washington.
It's Washington.
Do you think decorum matters anymore, or is it gone forever?
Depends on the setting.
I don't think it's gone forever. I think Trump, being a businessman, not a politician, I think he just.
So we need a politician for decorum?
I think so.
I'd rather not have it. I'd rather have Trump and decorum.
Oh, I'm not criticizing President Trump, but I'm just saying the fact that he has not spent his whole life as a politician, his adult life, with the goal of being a politician, he just wears his feelings on his sleeve and then just shoots from the hip, and that was hilarious. I just think that was funny.
I think there's certain events that you need decorum. You probably need decorum when you're doing a State of the Union address or presiding over some lawmaker's memorial service or whatever. But this was different. This was a little lighter.
When he gave the explanation the other day for the tariffs, remember that? It took about 20 minutes, and he read the script and had a suit and tie and did all that. So
that's fine with me. That was funny.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I'm just saying, if a Democrat gets back in the White House and they do what he just did right there, are we going to act?
I don't care.
Okay.
That's
what I'm saying. I think decorum's just gone with the wind, like the movie. So I don't think it matters anymore. And both sides are guilty. Both Democrats and Republicans are pretty well guilty.
There was Democrats.
But the problem here is the Democrats can't find anything to laugh. They're not funny. They have no sense of humor.
They really do have no sense of humor.
No sense of humor. They wouldn't do something like that.
That's a fact.
Yeah, they would walk in the room if the roles were reversed, and they would have something snotty or snarky to say. They wouldn't. They can't. That's hilarious. Whether you like decorum or not, it's funny. They don't have anything to laugh. It's not funny. They don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't do that.
I just wonder.
But if they did, I'd laugh.
Yeah.
If it was funny.
If it was funny.
But that's the problem.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, I'm just talking about is personal. We're not going to.
We've had this conversation before.
I
disagree that it's a priority
digs at people publicly, and they become the matter of laughter. Is that other human beings? Is that fine?
Yeah.
We're good with that. We're good with that.
Listen, that's the way I grew up.
Yeah.
You either it was like hyenas, on his you either ate or got eaten. And so when I was growing up, you either made fun of somebody else or you were the victim. And now that is probably a bad example to set on a Christian radio station. But to answer your question, to me it depends. I don't like hard-hearted insults of people, but if you're having some fun, I thought that was funny. If the Democrats had a sense of humor, they would laugh and they would, okay, I get it, but I don't know.
My wife beats me down senseless with these kind of things, and she says she does it because she loves me.
Yes.
So that's good.
Senseless?
Well, I don't have a whole lot to begin with.
Hey, before we let the rest, we have just a couple of minutes, really.
Yeah, we're going to have some decorum.
We're going to have some decorum
bring
here.
us some decorum.
We have until 1 o'clock Central Time, so just over an hour left in our Great Commission Partner Challenge. So here during our Spring Share-a-thon, we are challenging 100 listeners to become a monthly supporter. Here is the number to call if you would like to give to our Spring Share-a-thon. It's 877-616-2396. That's 877-616-2396. I do want to, before we're just about to be done with this program, let you know our Spring Share-a-thon premiums here. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, you will receive the book written by Stephen McDowell, a personal friend of Tim's, but also a friend of this ministry, founder of the Providence Foundation. The title of the book is The Bible, Divine or Human. If you become a Great Commission partner with a monthly gift of $30 or more, you receive the Stephen McDowell book and the AFR embossed pad folio. I do want to correct something that was said earlier. I don't think the cover is leather. I call it pleather, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if that's leather or not.
When we were so rudely interrupted by JJ, I was going to say I might want that on my car seat, so I cut that out and put it.
Oh, there you go.
Back of my car seat. That would look cool.
877-616-2396 is the number to call, or you can go to afr.net. We are very grateful for those who have already given to Share-a-thon, but this is day one, folks. Today, tomorrow, and Thursday, we continue.
All right, thanks for listening. My thanks to Wesley and to Ed and to Steve and Chris.
Rob West.
And JJ.
JJ and Melanie.
JJ and Melanie dropped by. Brent Creasy, our producer. And keep listening, because after the news, Todd Herman will be here.
He's in studio
to carry on. Yeah, we'll so stay tuned for that.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio. For a one-time gift of $150 or more, we'll send you Stephen McDowell's book, The Bible.